In order to have a thriving, productive, healthy garden, one of the most important thing, if not the most important component, is having good healthy soil. Especially for me who garden solely in containers, I must pay close attention to the soil that I'm planting in order to get beautiful, fresh, super productive, pest resistant plants to grow in my garden. So the soil is extremely important. No, I do not purchase commercial soil. I purchased one bag once to start some seeds, and I did not see where it made much of a difference in purchasing the commercial soil as against making my own to plant my seedling seeds, to plant suckers, whatever it is that I am planting. I prepare the soil myself. Now I get the questions from time to time. How do you get your soil to look so dark and to be so light and fluffy? And this is the ideal soil that you want to plant. Whatever it is you're planting, it will do well in this soil. And my garden is a living testimony to that. Whatever I am growing, it grows extremely well. Pest is my biggest issue. And even with the pest, because of the health of the plants, they do well. Now, today, I'm going to share with you how I make my soil to plant my vegetables and fruits. My name is Marie. If you're new here, I know that was a mighty long intro, but trust me, this video will be worth it. If you're having issues with your soil, sometimes you're having issues with your plants and it's because of what you plant them in, you're at the right place. I'm going to provide a video today sharing how I prepare the soil for both my above ground crops and below ground crops. Because believe it or not, the soil needs to be prepared differently for fruiting vegetables and for vegetables that don't fruit but they produce above the ground, and for those that are produced below ground. So please stay around until the end of this video. Trust me, this is going to be the difference in your garden. Rabbit manure has been a game changer in my garden. It has made such a difference. And before I continue, I'm just collecting some of this. This is the perfect nitrogen fixer for your garden. It is a cold manure, so it can be used straight away, excluding the urine. The urine is hot manure. So if your rabbit manure is saturated with urine, it needs to be cured. But if it is dry, like this is, it can be used straight away. Really, really high in nitrogen. But not all vegetables need a lot of the rabbit manure, and I'll get into details in a minute. So as I said, rabbit manure is an excellent nitrogen fixer, and when added to the soil, this soil is great to start seeds. It's great to plant leafy green vegetables, because what nitrogen does to the plant is promote good, healthy foliage. So this is excellent. You can add a lot of the rabbit manure if it is that you're going to be growing things like lettuce, pak choy, cabbages, things like that that does not really produce fruits, for example, peppers and tomatoes and so on. It is good for those vegetables as well because it promotes good, healthy foliage, and you need healthy foliage to collect that energy from the sun through the process of photosynthesis in order for the plant to produce food. And so it is good in that sense. But for some vegetables, it is not so well. It is good, but not in that proportion. No, I started out with just topsoil, and what you saw me adding initially was coffee grounds. This is what the coffee grounds, let me just get my gloves back on. So the base of the soil is regular topsoil. And as I said, I make all of my soil, so nothing added but what you literally scrape up off the top of the ground. This is coffee grounds, and what this does, it adds texture. It's a natural fertilizer. It's also high in nitrogen. So this also add structure to the soil. So if you have clay soil or sandy soil, if it is clay, it will kind of break it up a little, allow for a little more aeration. And if it is sandy soil, it will add a little more structure for moisture retention in your soil. And it's also fertilizer, really high in nitrogen and other nutrients for your soil. So I add that to the topsoil, the rabbit manure, and also this is horse manure. And why I like to use horse manure is for aeration. This is cured horse manure. And by the way, I need to add horse manure is hot manure and needs to be cured for 6 months or more, depending on if the area is moist, because a lot of moisture will hold the acidity in the manure. The difference between hot and cold manure, I've gotten that question before, is that the cold manure is lower in acidity. The hot manure is higher. Chicken is one of those. If you cover it, you literally feel the heat from that acidity rising from the manure. So those need to be cured until they do not smell like poop anymore. So I add some horse manure for fertilizer and for structure of the soil. It aerates the soil and it just makes it light and fluffy. I think I probably use perlite once or twice to help to aerate the soil. I use these natural things and I combine all of those. Now, I also use worm casting and dry leaves from the woods to add to my soil as well. Now, after adding all of those, we have a nice, fluffy, nutrient dense soil. But how do you retain that nutrients in the soil? Because once you water, I use containers so it is washed out. The nutrients leaches from my soil very, very easily because I have to water on a daily basis because of where I live. Now, what I do, charcoal is what I add to my soil in order to help the soil retain some of that moisture and keeps it available to the root of my plant. And let me quickly show you that, and then I get back to what we plant in what soil. This literally fixes your soil. So we have our charcoal, not powdery, but very, very fine. It's better to show you rather than to just tell you, right? So you just pick up some, as I said, this can be more powdery. You incorporate it into your soil and just simply mix it in. What the charcoal does is it helps with better drainage of your soil, aerate your soil, and it absorbs water also, so it prevents waterlog in the soil and also root rot. It prevents your plants from getting waterlogged and for your roots to get rotted essentially. Now this soil that we created, this is perfect for green leafy vegetables like the ones you're seeing around me. You will get the best callaloo, the best heads of cabbages. You always ask me, oh, is your cabbages so pretty and so big? That is the exact mixture that I use for my cabbages. And I may add some top dressing of the either the horse manure or the rabbit manure once I see where the cabbage are starting to form heads. Once that's it, and that's how I get the cabbages to look that good and produce that well. That's all I use. Now, what about vegetables that are planted and need to produce under the ground? Because this is going to produce, like for carrots and so on, beetroot, this will produce lovely green leaves on top. And they probably are edible, but the reality is we plant carrots to eat carrots and we plant beetroot to eat beetroot. How do we prepare the soil to plant root vegetables? Take a look. Now I grow a lot of yams and dasheen. That is my yam right on the fence right there. And dasheens and peanuts and sweet potatoes, those sort of vegetables we need to treat differently. Well, in the case of peanuts, they are nuts. We need to treat differently. And so we need things rich in potassium, phosphorus, and calcium to develop strong root system. Their roots are literally, well, they're tubers, not their roots, but in a sense, the tuber is the root of the plant. That is the food that we want to develop. And so we need things rich in calcium. We need things rich in phosphorus and potassium. The ash, this is coal ash I took from my stove that I love to prepare my meals on outside. And I just add some of the ash. I need to point out that you need to scale down on the nitrogen fixers in the soil. So the manures, you can add a little to help keep the leaves nice and green, but you want to kind of tone down, scale down on the amount of manure that you add to your soil. So you add to my soil prepared with the charcoal and everything else except the excess manure. So if you're gonna add manure, add the horse manure or chicken or rabbit. You don't add all three, or you add very little of each. So I'm adding the ash to the same soil that we prepared. And the good thing is this has some charcoal as well. And you know, charcoal in itself is not, the ash is the fertilizer. The charcoal is a facilitator of those nutrients that surrounds it. And so you had a little bit of the ash. Now you can make your own calcium fertilizer through blending eggshells or grinding bones if you have such a powerful grinder. But if you don't have those, what you can use as a substitute is bone meal. And I'm going to use bone meal to add to my soil, as I do have eggshell, but this is just a substitute for persons who are not able to do that, like vegetarians who don't eat eggs. And so you add a little bit of the bone meal, everything in moderation. You want to add maybe to this 2-gallon bucket, I'm going to add just one um palm, one handful basically. And this I'll link in the description for persons who are interested in getting one for yourself. And so you had just a little bone meal. This is organic fertilizer and it is rich in phosphorus and calcium. Add a little to your soil and just mix that in. Now this soil is perfect to plant beetroot, carrots, turmeric, ginger, and more often than not, I don't fertilize until harvest. And apart from the carrot and the beetroot, these are long term. The ginger, the yams, all 9 months. And because of the charcoal holding in that nutrients in the soil, keeping it nutrient dense, and also because I mulch the containers to keep the moisture level in the soil, then what I plant them in is what lasts their entire lifespan until I harvest. So give it a shot. You ask, what do you use to get your garden looking so good all the time, it is the soil. The soil is really, really important. Next to watering, if you're watering sand or watering just clay, you have a problem. The soil needs to be prepared properly. And that is how I get everything to produce. Now, for fruit in vegetables, there is one more thing that you need to add to your soil for fruiting vegetables to get them to produce beautiful tomatoes and beautiful peppers and the jazz. So let me show you that quickly and then wrap up the video for soil today. I had to run and get my magic ingredients. Now you've prepared your soil, you've planted your peppers or tomatoes, eggplants, all of those vegetables that produces fruits once they get going. This is what we really eat and not this. So what you'll get from what I prepared for these vegetables are green pretty leaves and no fruits. So we need to ensure that we get fruits from these vegetables. Now they will start to put on blooms, they'll start to blossom with what we prepared earlier, but they'll start to fall off. Now, what these need to produce is potassium. It needs other things, yes, but that is the main nutrient that these peppers and tomatoes and so on need to produce. Now, I provide that to my plants in the form of banana tea, and I made a video and shared some time ago. I'll prepare another video soon because for some reason persons aren't seeing those videos. Banana tea is very, very easy to make. It's made from ripe banana peel and water, just two ingredients. And then once the plants start to put on flowers, I just dilute 1 to 10 with my banana tea. 1 part banana tea, 10 parts water. That's banana tea that I have soaking for maybe a week or more. They don't go bad. The older the tea, the stronger it is. And then all I do is water the plants. So for that morning, instead of watering with just water, maybe once per week is good enough. I water with the banana tea instead. And that's how I get the plants to produce so many tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that. So I hope this video was helpful to someone this morning. I really hope so. If it is that I left off anything at all, because sometimes I come out with my head well screwed on to prepare a video for you and I don't have any notes. I forget things until I'm editing. But if it is I forget anything, I will do a future video. If it is that you wanted something more from this video, ask in the comment section below. I try to tailor future videos um, according to your needs. So please ask your questions in the comments. If there is anything I could have done to improve my soil, please let me know. I welcome your recommendations. Also, please let me know if there is anything that you do to your soil that would help to um, um, make my soil better, because there's always room for improvement. Please let me know, guys. Thank you so much for your support. To my members, thank you so much for joining the membership. I see you new members. Welcome to Farming on the Rocks membership. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for the super thanks. Appreciate them. I see them, and I'll definitely put them to use in the garden. Thank you so very much. For things that I use in the video that I can find the links for, I'll place in the description for your ease of shopping. Thank you guys for sharing the videos. I appreciate you. Please continue to like and leave your comments and subscribe if you've not already subscribed. Press the notification bell so you'll be notified so you won't miss any of the future videos. Thank you so very much. Thank you and take care.